Good afternoon, Mayhem Fitness. We have our next cooking video, and today we're going to make a nice healthy chicken noodle soup. We have had a cold snap the last few days. It's been in the 30s all day, in the 20s at night, so it's been pretty chilly. Nice time for soup right before we get into a heat wave, right? It's supposed to warm up this weekend, but we love chicken soup, really low points. We do it a little differently. What we have here is everything we're going to use minus the noodles. Now, we do put the noodles in, but we don't cook them together with the soup, so you have better control over it. I don't like a ton of noodles, my wife does, so for me it's more about the vegetables, the chicken, and the broth. And if we look at what we have here, so we have chicken tenders, boneless, we've got carrots, celery, yellow onion, chicken broth. We do use a low sodium chicken broth. All this together, if we were to cook it, and actually have a pretty good sized portion, 6 ounces of chicken, 2 cups of the chicken broth, along with the vegetables, is 5 points. So really low points. Super easy recipe. We're gonna take the chicken, we're gonna put the chicken broth in our pot, we're gonna get up to boil, we're gonna boil our chicken. We're gonna put our vegetables in at the same time, let them cook all together, take the chicken out while the vegetables finish. The vegetables will take about 30 minutes to cook. The chicken will take about 15. When everything's all done, we put the chicken back in, then we put our pasta in. Pasta's gonna take about 6 to 7 minutes to cook. Once that's all together, we put it in the bowl, bring it through together. But here's the key thing that brings in the great flavor. Doesn't add a ton of points. I use about a half an ounce of Parmesan cheese. That little bit of Parmesan cheese gives it a little bit of saltiness, a little kick. That's another 1 point. So again, if we put the whole thing together, if you do add just a little bit of noodles and a little bit of the Parmesan cheese, you're about 8 or 9 points for a whole dinner. But it's gonna be incredibly delicious. You're gonna get some great flavor. So we can't wait to show that to you. We'll show you to you when it's done. We'll come back in just a little bit. So as you can see here, we cut up a lot of vegetables. So I treat this, like I said, like we talked about before, you can use as many noodles as you want. A lot of times I won't use hardly any noodles, but that's why I like to cook them separately. I almost treat it like a chicken vegetable soup. So one of the things to keep in mind if you're trying to save points, you don't want to add the pasta in, or you're trying to cut down on the carbs, you can also add more vegetables. So we just have a lot of carrots, a lot of celery, onion. Again, that's going to help us get the flavor we want and be able to kind of make it like a chicken vegetable soup or a chicken vegetable noodle soup, depending on what you decide you want to go with. So just a good top tip to save some points, make sure you get some great flavor, and again, not using all those extra carbs if you're trying to stay away from it. I got my sous chef here helping me. She doesn't want to be on camera, but you do just put the whole chicken in by itself. You put the whole thing in whole, and then what we do afterwards is once it's cooked, we take it out when it's cooling down, and then we cut up into smaller sizes. So we like to actually pull it, so it's almost more like a pulled chicken in the soup, which actually works really, really well. So again, we sauteed the onions with just a little bit of garlic in the pot. We added the broth in. Now we're putting the chicken in. It'll cook for the next 15 or 20 minutes. We'll add our veggies in, pull the chicken out, let it kind of all come to a simmer. Whole thing takes about 45 minutes or so. All right, we got our chicken out, shredded up, so it's ready to go back in. We got a lot of chicken here. We also use, I think I've shared this with you before, but we used our Thanksgiving seasoning here. I talked about that in the past, what's in there. We just put about a good tablespoon in here to mix with our veggies. Again, 2 boxes of chicken stock, carrots, celery, onions, the 1.5 pounds of chicken tenders, a little bit of that seasoning, we're done. So this is gonna cook for another half an hour. The longer you can let it cook, the more the flavors will kind of meld together. You get a better flavor. So we're gonna let this cook for another half an hour or so, put it over a little bit of noodles, and we'll be good to go. Alright, so we're done. We're gonna have just a little bit of pasta, not a lot. I don't do a lot of pasta, like I said, in my chicken noodle soup, so just put a little bit at the bottom of the pan here, or our bowl here, excuse me, and we'll add in our chicken soup. So again, this has been cooking for about an hour. Got everything mixed in nice together. So we'll add it in here, add a little more broth, a little bit more chicken here. And what I do at the very end here is I add just a little bit of Parmesan cheese. I'll do that afterwards. But again, we have this really nice soup, low points. Let me try the flavor on it, make sure we're good here. So we got our nice carrots in here. Very hot. You can get that nice flavor. We get a little bit of that Thanksgiving seasoning in. Chicken's nice and tender. What's nice here again is get all those great flavors together, low points. Like I said, the whole thing is about 7 or 8 points. We add a little bit of cheese in there. So again, nice, healthy, hearty dinner. Thank you for checking out Mayhem Fitness. If you haven't done it, please hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification button. New videos coming out all the time. We always appreciate you for checking us out. Have an amazing night.